Welcome back to Question Period. We are reflecting on the moments that defined 2025 and looking ahead to the moments that could define 2026. To do that, we have a special edition of The Scrum. Nick Nanos is the Chief Data Scientist at Nanos Research. Next to him, that's Joel-Denis Bellavance. He's the Ottawa Bureau Chief at La Presse. And Judy Trinh rounds us out. She's a Senior Correspondent here at CTV National News. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Good to see you. Happiest of the holiday season. Nick, I'll start with you. I think for most of us, what defined the politics of last year was what happened in the thing that you do, which is the most massive swing in public opinion polling nationally I've ever seen. Does that define it for you?
Oh, you mean the deathbed resurrection of the Liberals? I think we've got to call it for what it was. Because a year ago, think of it this way, Vashi, a year ago this week, the Liberals were in the 20s. Justin Trudeau was the leader of the Liberal Party. They were 14 points lower than they were today, and everyone had written them off. And, you know, fast forward now, the Liberals are still in power. Mark Carney is the new leader of the Liberals and the Prime Minister. And Pierre Poilievre, his polling numbers were pretty good a year ago, but his personal numbers have been diminishing over time. So it's been a complete reversal of fortune from a ballot perspective.
Do you see any evidence, JD, that the scope, the magnitude of all of that switched has been internalized by any of the political parties?
The Liberal Party, yes, I think they've internalized that, and I think because they remain in power. But I would say that the Conservative Party is still adjusting to the new reality, and the reasons why is that there's, you know, they have been losing MPs to the Liberal Party, 2 MPs so far, and possibly more in the coming weeks, and also adjusting to the new political reality dealing with the United States. And my sense is that the Conservative Party did not adjust properly during the federal elections. That helped the Liberals, because the Liberals were seen as the best party to defend Canada against Donald Trump.
That has certainly evolved, not necessarily the public's view, but the way in which the Liberals, Judy, are saying they're going to do that, right? Like, if we've been looking all week back at sort of the year that was, and you listen to some of the clips from the Prime Minister during the election campaign, don't take our land, you're not going to take our resources, like, wow, has the rhetoric changed quite significantly, you know, to most recently kind of that facial expression when Doug Ford was talking about his anti-tariff ad, like the Prime Minister wasn't happy with that.
No, and I think what defines Mark Carney for me this year is March 9th, when he won the Liberal leadership, and what the phrase was, I know how the world works, right? So that type of confidence is his double-edged sword, because it can tip over into hubris. And what we saw was that, you know, he has this ability, because of his glittering resume, to bring $70 billion in a pledge from the UAE, because he's in the room with those sovereign wealth leaders. But at the same time, that attitude angers First Nations and Indigenous groups, because of they feel sidelined. So I'm interested to see how he is going to navigate those relations in the next year.
I think, you know, part of what Judy references there is a couple of interesting proof points that will arrive next year, right? We've talked frequently on this panel about the kind of ambition that the Prime Minister describes or talks about, or the rhetoric he employs, which is so unlike what we're used to. But the promises so far, like, they're so massive, I really don't understand how they're going to deliver on them, but the delivery will be expected next year, I imagine, Nick.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, the thing is for a lot of Canadians, it's probably, show me the jobs. Right? Yeah. Because Canadians are worried about paying for the bills. They're worried about their job security. They're worried about trade with the United States. And many of these initiatives that Mark Carney has kind of embarked on have long-term implications. These are not short-term projects. And the question is how will they navigate the short term when Canadians are worried about paying for the groceries this week, they're worried about paying for housing this week, and wondering what will happen on the jobs front?
There are a couple of things, like the building of the projects is more long term, but, you know, approving one, getting a shovel in the ground, JD, getting a deal of some sorts with the United States, those are all things that I think many Canadians believe should materialize in some way next year. What kind of pressures do you think the government will face?
A lot of pressure, because, as you mentioned, our relationship with the United States is being redefined, and Mr. Carney is trying to redefine it in a way that Canada will be less dependent on the United States market. And I would see that the federal budget is trying to plant the seeds of the new economy, the new Canadian economy, and that's going to be a long term. And, you know, when you plant a seed, it takes a while before you see the rose, and that's, you know, the gamble the government is taking. But as Nick mentioned, I think the Prime Minister and the government will have to say we need to be patient, because what we're doing will take some time to materialize.
It will be interesting to see the way in which the opposition navigates that, because I think that there is a lot of opening there for opposition critique on execution if time ends up being on their side. The question, though, with the leadership review in January, of course, where the Conservatives are concerned, is will time be on their side?
Well, you know, Mark Carney has that goal-keeping background, right? So he's been good at defending Canada, but he has yet to score goals, right? So, and I think that's what the Conservatives are going to constantly go after. One thing that I'm looking forward to when it comes to diversification, our second biggest trading partner is China. There is a state visit being planned this year. During the APEC summit, Carney actually said that they talked to Xi Jinping about foreign interference and that Canada has the structures in place. So if we are going to expand trade with China, do we really have the structure in place? And our colleagues will know that, you know, June 2024 was when they passed Bill C-70, and by all the parties had support for the Foreign Influence Registry. That is supposed to be a safeguard. That is not yet in place, yet we are going to expand trade with a country that just a few short months ago we deemed the greatest threat. The Prime Minister actually said that
during the debate. I have 1 minute left. I want to ask all of you what I've been asking our guests today, and we talked about this last time. Is there going to be an election next year, do you think, Nick?
Yep.
Okay, that was a very simple answer. Thank you.
I changed my mind. I thought it would be a spring election, but no longer. I think the Prime Minister will get a majority. The next time he answers a question from Pierre-Live dans the comments, he will be leading a majority government.
Oh my gosh, how are you so unequivocal about that? What do you know that the rest of us don't? Will the majority be more than by one?
At least one. That's all I can do.
Safe answer, JD. Safe answer. Judy?
I know that I don't want one. I'm the most of the Canadian electorate.
This is,
but you know, I think the Canadian electorate doesn't want one. So whether or not there are more floor crossers, I think that's a possibility as well.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Guys, Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to you and your family. Thanks for making all the time for the analysis over the year. Nick Nanos, JD Bellavance, and Judy Trinh, our Sunday Scrum. That does do it for Question Period this year. I want to take a moment to thank everyone who worked so hard to put this show together. An amazing team led by Brendan McDonald, Spencer Van Dyke, and Stephanie Ha. There's also an entire crew of people behind the scenes here in Ottawa, in the control room and the edit suite, without whom this show would never be what it is, and I want to thank them for all their hard work as well. I also want to thank you for continuing to watch and for supporting accountability journalism. I know you're busy, and I appreciate you making us a part of your lives. We will most definitely be back in January. In the meantime, I want to wish all of you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.